Hello everyone, and thanks for coming this evening. Let me switch screens. So, my camera's a little bit off today. Here we go. We have the newest member of the herd, all the way from Australia, the Ventrosaur, joining my elephants over there in the corner, just to keep me company. Make sure I write my code okay. Hey, thanks everyone for coming. So, today we are going to cover um, let's build an online store in Laravel. And what we're going to focus on first is planning, because we don't usually cover planning. So I've done a little bit of planning already, so I'll just take you through it. So the aim of this is to build a simple online store. It's going to allow us to build really simple products that we sell to our visitors. There'll be things like what you buy from like the Laracon online store, for example. With Stack, haven't decided which one to start with yet. Ooh, there's an echo. There shouldn't be an echo. My birthday was good. I had a really good birthday. Spent it with the wife and kids and just chilled. Really nice to relax actually. So the idea is we're not trying to rebuild Magento or Shopify or anything here, because if you need something like that, you may as well use it. What we're going to do is we're going to build more custom e-commerce. Something, the poll was exactly 50-50. How am I meant to choose a stack, right? So the idea is we're building simple e-commerce, maybe something like what we'd get with WooCommerce. But we want the power of Laravel, so we can do extra things like allow social logins really easily, or start building extra features really quickly. So that's the idea. There's going to be variants, of course, but the products are relatively flat. So the main features that we're going to cover are a user can purchase and browse products, they can view their orders, they're able to check statuses of orders, they'll be able to add products to their cart, they'll be able to apply coupons to their cart, and they'll be able to pay for their cart. And as usual, I'm going to do this in a domain-driven design approach. So we've got our three main domains here. We've got our customer domain, which is all about where the user is, the user information, how they log in, their email address, their shipping address, their billing address, any sort of addresses. Throw a coin and pick the stack. Worst case, I'll let my wife pick and see what she comes up with. If we can't decide amongst ourselves, my wife can pick the stack. So yeah, that's the customer domain. It's all about the customer, the user. The user who logs in is the customer. They've got their information stored. They can update their information, change the information. Then we've got the catalog domain. Hey Haz. So the catalog, it's all to do with products. So we'll have our products, our product variants. We're going to have product ranges. So what I'm thinking here is, if you look back at the Laracon website, for example, what you had is for Laracon 2021. Yeah, I know what your vote was, wife. Sorry. Maybe someone unbiased who isn't going to choose what I like. So if you look back at the Laracon website, they sell their merch and then they stop selling their merch. So what I'm thinking here is they could put that into a product range. And then when the winter 2021 conferences, they start a new range, but the old range is always still available on the site. Makes it really easy, so you can go back and get like historical merch from Laracon summer 2020, for example. Obviously going to have inventory and stuff. Hey Craig. And yes, I do like the tall stack. It's probably because I'm only 5'8". Anything to make me feel a bit taller. Then the fulfillment domain. So that's all about payments. How are we fulfilling this order? Well, we've got to pay for it to start with, which creates an order. Those orders go through a process, shipping happens, and then order is fulfilled when it's delivered. So that's the overall. I've planned out 3 streams. So for our first stream, we're going to set up our Laravel application, describe our domains, start all the data modeling, working with the events, and we're going to focus on the user or the customer data at this point. Then what we've also got, episode 2, this is we're going to look at the products, how we're going to categorize them, filter them, all of these sorts of things. It's really interesting to see how many people want to see inertia. Am I going to bend to the will of the people? Oh, COVID freedom. No, you enjoy, mate. You go enjoy your COVID freedom. Go watch something interesting and tell me about it later. So, episode 3, we're going to be working on the start of the fulfillment part here. And that's where we're going to be working on the carts and the orders and how we can convert a cart into an order and that sort of thing. So that's overall. So if I come to the overview, will you use clean architecture and DDD? Of course I will. I don't do anything but, unfortunately. It's just how I like to do it. So, shock horror. I will not be using Jetstream for this one. Every stream I've built, I've done anything with Laravel, I've used Jetstream because it's easy. However, I don't need it for this. So what we're going to do, we're going to focus on the business logic and simple API endpoints, allowing us to remain really free from any constraints that we're getting from any stack. And the idea is that I would like to, later down the line, work on doing an implementation with, this is how build the e-commerce front end with inertia. This is how I do it with a tool stack. This is how I do it with Nuxt.js. So I can have different angles, and I can start to invite some of you who might be interested to come on, join me, and show me how you'd like to do it as well. Because, you know, watching me code is great, but actually coding with people is a lot more fun. So our products are going to be physical products. There will be like digital availability, so it's like maybe it's like ebooks as well. You can also buy. They're going to have inventory that needs managing. Products can belong to ranges. So they're also going to have categories. So it could be a wearable, accessories, downloadable, loads of stuff like that. They're going to be added onto a sale, which when done will have a percentage reduction applied. So it allows store owners to kind of manage excess stock a little bit. So the idea is that you can just Mark's. Oh, don't say microservices on while I'm on a stream. It just makes me throw up. No, this doesn't need microservices. I have built something like this with microservices in Golang, and it was crazy. It was crazy complicated for no real reason. So I'm going to stick to what works best. Monolith with headless capabilities. So bundles will also be created, allowing store owners to kind of create packs. So one really good example of this would be look back at the Laracon Online 2021 that just happened. They had some really cool swag. Now, if they could sell a bundle after the conference to get rid of some excess stock, a summer 2021 bundle, I'd probably buy it because it saves me adding absolutely everything to my cart. Instead, I was like, okay, I don't want to spend too much, so I'll do this. If they did a bundle, reduced profits on each of them, but they get rid of more stock, it means you're going to buy more. So that's the idea there. Monolith, all about the monolith. So products are going to have a cost price and a retail price stored, allowing us to see kind of stock value. So we can see at any point, okay, we've got an excess stock. We need to start looking at reducing that potential overhead there. And we can do lots of cool stuff with that over time. Yes, definitely going to do coupons. There's going to be coupons and sales. But I'm going to have to figure out the business rules about how I want that to work. So for simplicity, there's not going to be shipping functionality. I'm going to kind of fake the shipping aspect of it. So, okay, sorry, I missed a bit here. So we're also storing the dimensions of the weight of the product so we can calculate shipping based on boundaries. So we can start to put in these like business logic rules of saying, anything over X amount can't get next day delivery and should be on this rate, and it just allows us to be a bit more descriptive about shipping boundaries as well. So what we're going to have, this is how I like to plan, by the way. I come onto Notion, I create a code block in YAML, which might disgust some people. Um, but we have a product. Here's our product. The attributes we're going to have. We're going to have an ID, key, name, description, a cost, which could be pence, cents, etc., etc. So basically the smallest unit value for a currency. A retail, which is again the same, and then whether it's an active product or not. Then relationships, we've got categories which it belongs to, ranges it can belong to many, inventory it belongs to, and variants it has many. Now I don't actually think I need inventory on the product, if I'm really honest, because then I decided to introduce the concept of variants. So the idea here is variants are, it's got an ID, a key, a name, cost, retail. So the idea here is that our base product cost, let's say it's 10 British pounds. To buy an extra large, we're going to add £2.50 on top of that. So we're adding that adjustment onto the bundled price of the product plus a variant. If it costs more to sell a blue t-shirt than it does a red t-shirt, then you'd charge differently. And then obviously the variants have the heights, widths, lengths and weights, because the product is just kind of like this container. Product in this is just kind of like, I can have many variants of the same product, so I don't need to worry about products, I just need to worry about variants. So those are always, almost always going to be loaded at the same time. And obviously, is this variant shippable? You know, okay, maybe a t-shirt with 50 times XL isn't going to be shippable, but this is more about, okay, so this is a physical book, here's a variant which is a downloadable book with a different price. So the price here, we want it to also be like, well, it won't ever be negative, we just have to adjust it slightly. So we can download the book instead. Oh, wrong one. Live streams, planned stream. I've got so much stuff on here. Here we go. Would you approach authentication with DDD? I don't know if it's needed, if I'm 100% honest. I'm going to come round to things like authentication. And then obviously inventory, we've got account, and that's it. I mean, this isn't really needed, but the relationship is the variant which it belongs to. So I've got 50 large blue t-shirts and things like that. I would like to look at how I can combine variants. I might have to do something like, when it comes to t-shirts, let's say I've got, you know, blue, red and green. I'm going to have a large blue, large red, large green. To make it simpler, otherwise you start getting into really complicated relationships that are just slow. So that is what we're going to be building. How we're going to be building it is with Laravel. So here's my Laravel new. So we're just going to call this shop. So we want Laravel, it's plain old Laravel, nothing, no Jetstream, no nothing, just give me a Laravel application with Blade. Right, so now I can just start a new project, and I'm going to do this over on about 3 miles away on the end of my other screen, so bear with me. And we're going to put that in a new window, and incoming, here we go. So I've currently got like a console application running for work in on my other screen, because I'm trying to import 3.1 million entries of location data. So it's taking a bit of time. Why use full ID integer of you? Oh, okay. So I'm very specific about some of my database stuff, which I'll go into as we go through this. So to start with, I need to set up my database connection. So here's my localhost, and it's just root. That should be fine. Session, we will stick with file. I'm glad they changed that back. Anything else I need? That's it really right now. I suppose I could open this up and start and get my emails all ready. Mailboxes, let's go and create. So if you've not used Hello before, then I can come to here, I can grab this, and what I need to do is just replace that. So inbox name here, I can just call Laravel shop, mail from address, app at Laravel shop.app. We may as well set this one up. Right, so there's that, and then I've got inboxes. Here's some that I was doing somewhere else. What have I been building? Right, okay. I've been building a coding test for someone there from the looks of it. So next step is let's rearrange our windows, and what we're going to want is shop.test. Here's our Laravel application here. So what we're going to have is, if it's a basic clean Laravel application, we've got our user model here. We can have API tokens and all of that good stuff. From Sanctum, we don't want to worry about authentication yet. But we are going to worry about domains this early on. So the first thing this is clean Laravel. So we will make our initial commit default Laravel. So auto load, we need to come down to here, and then we need to come into here, and we're going to say, okay, so domains is in. We can just quickly create that one, and then we can create that one. Then we just quickly run an update, and away you go. So first thing, let's say no to 7.3. That will then get all that sorted. So source domains in here, I can create a new. If I come over to my domains down here, I've got customer catalog and fulfillment. So I'm just going to scaffold those out now. So we're going to go customer, catalog, and fulfillment. Oh, I am using Notion. This is just Notion. It's just super handy. I remove app to so what I like to do is eventually everything within here is to do with my application, because I'm going to have API controllers, I'm going to have front-end controllers, maybe admin controllers, different sorts of controllers going on. We're going to have console applications, console commands that are really specific to this application, so it's within app. Anything else business logic wise is under source. It's just how I like to do things personally. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, it just works for me. Obviously use what you're most comfortable with. So now I can come to my user model, and I can refactor this, and I can move this class to domains no, I'll fix that in a minute. So customer models. There we go. Just fix that up. Right, so see how you store orders. I will let you know when I get there. I'm not quite there yet, I don't think. So let's just do some quick tidy up within this here. Obviously, there's ways that I like to present my code. Just how I like to do it, I suppose. So let's grab that one. Let's move that one up too. So authenticatable. We don't need to worry about must verify email, I don't think. I'm not going to do any email verification because I don't want anything to stop them spending money, really, do I? It's a shop. Email verified that we could probably remove. Let's come down to database migrations quickly for the user. So we're going to return a new class. We're going to turn these all into anonymous migrations. And there we go. If you probably you're going to think about product style editors. Yeah, it's a funny one. We'll get to that one. We'll get to it. So I like to capture the first name as well as the last name when it comes to applications, because it allows you to be a little bit more personable when you're using their name for email at all or anything at all. So I'm going to remove the email verified app because I definitely don't want to use it. That's perfect for me. Users, I don't need anything specific on them, but I will add a UUID. Just like that. Chances of UUIDs not being unique is very, very, very slim, but I like to just make sure. So there's all of that. So what I need to do, I need to change this to first name, capture the last name, first name, last name, email, password, and we're also going to want to capture UID. Hidden, that's all good. So what we need now is come down to our domains here. So we kind of need this shared domain, I suppose, don't we? No. How should I do this right now? For now, I'll just implement it directly under here, and I'll move it as soon as I need it. So within here, we want a new trait, and this trait is going to be called has UUID. And there we go. Nice and simple. Ooh, Command D to duplicate current line of code. Ooh, that is cool. I've accidentally pressed that so many times and not realised. So in this we'll have a public static function boot has UUID. Ooh. Don't really want to return from that one. Yeah, for a worldwide shop this probably wouldn't be mandatory. You're right there, Michael. Just things I like to do. I'd probably, if I'm honest, I'd probably make last name nullable and leave it at that. So if people want to enter their full name and first name, they are more than welcome to. So static creating. So basically, while we're creating a model, we'll set the model UUID to be that's it. That's going to complain, but I'm going to ignore that right now. So then this has UUID, can come over to the user, import that one, and there we go. Domain customer models concerns there. So we've got a nice UUID there, ready to go. So there is that part done. That is our user with a UUID. So there's other things that we need to consider here. So a user is going to have addresses, right? So what we need is to create a new migration. So, or a model maybe. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We could store that just as a JSON column on the user for their billing address and their shipping address and just manage it that way. Feels a bit messy. So what I'm thinking here is we could make a model called location. That's going to have a migration and a factory. So there is that. Here we go. So what I typically do at this stage is, to make things easier, is just put that back to 2010 because I want that to come before users. There's probably an easier way to do that, if I'm honest. This is a habit I got into when I need to do it. Let's just change the date to something like really old. 2010. There we go. That was a while ago, wasn't it? So here's our locations. So what do we want in a location? There's lots of things we could want in a location, and if I grab a snippet of what I'm capturing on another project for locations, so properties table, that'll probably be it. So here is what I'm grabbing on another project. For this, we are grabbing, it's got a UUI, it's got a house, it's got a street, it's got a parish, a ward, a district, a county, and a postcode. So this is English wording. Yeah, the has UID will eventually share with more than one domain, so it will be moved out. So this is like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, street name, some village or town. So greater area around it, and then you've got district, which, sorry, that's greater area. This is then the town, county, or state in America. This would be something like, I don't know, Cardiff, somewhere near me. I know, even better idea. Here we go. Let's use this one. So, Hereford. County of Hereford. And then we'll just grab a postcode. Or was that a random postcode? Here we go. So, Derbyshire County, encode and outcode. So let's grab this one as to show it as an example. That's DE56, and then the encode is there. This is Derbyshire County. So Derbyshire County. Part of the East Midlands, but that's not really part of it. So, did we capture the ward? Yep. So, Belper South. The county is Derbyshire. Parish is Belper. So, there we go. And then district here. As a very rough example. This probably only makes sense if you live in this sort of area. So the idea here is that street, house name or number, the street that you live on, where that street's located. And it's just a different breaking down the parts of the postal address. The important things for any postal address is the postcode and the street and house. That's like the bare minimum you can get away with using. I'm not going to use a point for location because I don't need that for this. I'm not worrying about the house price because that was a different project. So here's locations. I could probably add who added it, but I'm not worried about that right now. So let me change that to locations. So here's some locations basically. We can add this. And then we could probably go and create an address from locations. So here's our addresses table. So let's just refactor and rename that one, and let's put that to 2011 instead, so it's a year later. Stick a void on there. Void. Clean up a little bit. The way that I like to do this is return a new class. Declare strict types on that one. Did I do that over here? Nope. So our address is going to be comprised of a few different things. So it's going to have a string for the type. Or is it? Is this how I want to do it? No. This is not how I want to do it. So let me delete that. I can delete that. And we don't want that. So basically the user, what we're going to have is foreign ID. The column is going to be called shipping ID. How many arguments does that take? Just a one. Cool. Constrained to table locations. And we want to index it. But it is nullable because you don't. Okay, he's complaining about that, but I won't worry just yet. So there's shipping ID, and then we'll have billing ID, which is again on locations. So we've got the billing address and the shipping address stored on the user as a separate location. It means that, you know, if I join the platform and buy something, if my wife does, we've got the same address. We're not duplicating address data at all, which is nice. And if someone changes their address, it's adding a new record. And eventually we can go through and just kind of clean those hanging addresses that are no longer attached to anyone. So that's locations. So now I suppose I can go refactor this. Let's declare strict types on that one, and let's refactor and move the class to domains, customer model, go. So we've still got a UUID. Not super important having a UUID, but we're going to keep it anyway. So we can say Has a UID. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they could. They could have multiple shipping locations. But this is a simple e-commerce platform. It's not. I might refactor to that later on. It's a good point. So let's add some fillable because I like fillable. And quick way to do this. We've got UID, we've got the house, we've got a street, we've got a parish, a ward, a district, county, and a postcode. I mean, you could put like country in there as well. We actually call this United Kingdom when you talk about postal stuff. So we can then country. Nothing needs casting. UIDs are added. That's good. So that's a very good point there, Samuel. So what Samuel's saying here is, in reality, a user will have multiple shipping locations. For example, office, home, mum's house, somewhere. And what we need to do, we need to account for them. So how could we do that? There's a few different ways I can think of to do that. So what we'll do is we will remove how we've added it here. And what a user can do is a user has many addresses, and we can do it the way I was thinking of doing it. But before I get to that, I've got a little bit of tidying up to do. There's no more models in there. That's been moved. That's been done. Alias name, would it be better than house? Maybe. We're talking semantics now, though, I think. So user factory. Let's quickly clear some of this up. This is complaining about that. It reminds me, we've probably actually got an issue in auth down here somewhere then. Yep. There we go. So let's clear this up a little bit. Let's just simplify that one. So we're not actually going to worry about unverified, if I'm honest, because we aren't doing email verified at, so we won't worry about that. What we will do is hash make password. Email verified at, we're going to remove. We're changing to a first name, so we can swap to first name. Get the last name in there. And these are all things that are important at this stage. I don't know what's the difference between a model and... Oh, you can pass to it like a gender. Ooh. In that case, I probably don't need it. You can have a billing address, shipping address, and order model, so it could be changed per order basis. You could do, but I mean, you have to keep entering it, and it's not stored against you. So what I'll do, I'll just quickly run through some of this. Array shape can be added, not interested right now. So there is our user factory. So now we come to our location factory. Let's just quickly clear this up. We'll stick that on that side. So then when we're building this, we can say, okay, so we want to get a house address. So I'm just going to grab Laravel transporter a second, so I can come over to postcodes.io. I mean, I could use here we go. I could use this, I suppose. You don't need. It may need to do with validation. We'll run it anyway. We'll grab it. So extending factory there. I just want to make sure I know how this is built up. Not really what I want to do. Okay, so I don't want to worry about juggling the constructor with this one, so I'm just going to resolve it directly. We're going to get the postcode service. So we're just going to have a location here, and we're going to have service. So my postcode service, and what we want to do, we don't want to validate. I can get a random postcode, get out code, get random postcode. I believe I can just do something like that. Get random postcode. Let's make this a little bit nicer. So now when I click get a response from that, that's just going to give me a mix. Okay, I need to update that package. Okay, for now, we're just going to quickly go over and dump on location. Seeders, we're going to database seeder. And as usual, try to leave the file better than how you found it. So within here, what I want to do is let's create and seed. Okay. Location factory not found. House factory, new factory, get called class, bloody blah. Okay, so I have to override this because something is get called class. Why is that complaining? Factory 4 model. Class database factories. I've not seen this have an issue before, if I'm honest. Yeah, I've definitely thought about that actually, Dan. Override the new factory method. Okay. Create a new factory for the model. So let's just have a look. Return new location factory. Hey, so now we're getting some information. So what we're getting here is here's our location, all that information there. That's good. So the house, we can do something like let's just quickly die dump on this Baker street address quickly. That's going to keep giving me some good street addresses there. Perfect. So that means we can set house to so before our subject, the first space, and we're going to search getting a street address. So we can get the street address there. That's a house. So a street like that. Then we can override street afterwards by saying street equals, actually no, we don't need to. We can just come down to here, there's a house. The street is going to be I want to go after the first space, and we're going to search what the current implementation of street is. There we go. That means I can drop that. Let's pull back this so we can see it. Hey, hello, thanks for being able to tune in live. Sorry for times not convenient, but when you've got 5 kids, it's hard to find a time that works, if I'm honest. So let's go for parish first. So parish. Here we go. Wow, one near me for a change, that's random. So what we'll use data get. So what data get does, yeah, I know that's unreachable. You give it a target, a key, and a default. So the target would be on like location, and what we're trying to get here is just parish. So we're trying to get a parish. If we can't get it, well, I don't know what we can get from Faker on this one. We'll just keep that as null for default. So ward, let's get a ward, and we'll do a data get again on location. So ward, what we're going to want here is the admin ward. The district. This is just faking data though, so it's okay. It's not too bad. The district we want to get is the admin district, otherwise it's going to be null. If it's not registered, then it ain't what we want. County. Do a quick data get. Location. What we're going to try and look for in there is a county. There's country. Country. Primary care trust region. Admin county. What are we getting this time? Ah. Shop.location doesn't exist. Okay, let's there we go. A different one now. County. Not super useful, is it? Got country, that's fine. Got can get the postcode. Random one in London, parish. I suppose parliamentary constituency is the closest thing we can get. Done district. Hampshire would be a admin county, so it might not always be available actually, which is fine. We just have to make sure we allow for that. County could be nullable apparently. So next we'll get the postcode. It's important to kind of test with relatively close data and not just use something like faker data all the time, because something like this is quite important. We want the full postcode. There we go. I mean, you could drop in that longitude, latitude if you really wanted to, but at this stage it's not really important. It's not adding any benefit to the application. But there's no reason we can't. So there's a postcode service. That's not doing our thing, so we can get random postcode. House, string before. That all looks... Wait. What country? Data get from location. I'm assuming it was just called country, but I better go check that one. Yeah. Close up some of these now. Database seeder, factory. Let's just quickly create 50 of them, and let's just artisan migrate, and we'll quickly seed as well. So, tinker. And grab this. So if I get a location, how many have I got? Cool. Let's grab the first one. So we've got an address in England. House and street is currently empty. Okay, so something is breaking here. Okay, so house, string before the first space. Okay. There's a new... I haven't actually used the stringable stuff in Laravel yet. Let's go have a look. Stringable... String helpers. So, fluent strings before. So, string of before. That's kind of what we need. So we could get the street address is fake a street address. So what we want to do is string of street address before first space. Cool. And then we're also going to want to get the second one. So we can go string of street address after not bad. Not bad. Hey everyone. How you doing, Bernard? Right, so that means I can get the house by doing that and get the other part by doing that. So let's just cut that off there. So let's migrate fresh and seed. And that has worked, so let's pull this over now. So what we've got is locations, house, street, parish, ward, districts. Not everyone's got a county, but here's a postcode, here's a country, and when it was created. Nice and clean. That works quite nicely. Obviously the database seeders needs to be worked out later because I probably won't use it like that. So there's a user factory, lots of factories. Don't actually use that. So let's publish some stubs. So there's my stubs published. So what I'm going to do is, what do I need to add? What have I done? So I can put DDD and a couple of packages. And we can say fixing typo from domain customers for user model. What else have we got? We can say things like data modeling users and locations. Cool, I can add everything within the source now. I can just do that as well. And I won't worry about adding stubs until I've actually done them. So let's go through our stubs. So if you haven't done this before with Laravel, you can publish for stubs. So perfect example. Let's go down to one I know I'm always going to use. Migration. Create migration. So this will always have declare strict types. This will always be returning a new class. which will always be void, which we can then clean up really nicely. And that is what our migrations will look like. So we can come up to this other one. Let's just grab that. So here's the other migration. So how many episodes? I actually don't know yet, if I'm honest. However many it takes is probably a good argument there. It's going to be one of those. It will go on until I don't think there's more to do. So there's returning a new class again. Let me make sure. Yeah, that was all done. There's that one. We'll do the update one as well, so we can drop that in there. Let's add a new class there. Void. I mean, this is like the thing I try to avoid where possible, because it can just be really slow. But I'm trying to take my time a little bit more with streams at the minute. Having watched Mohammed from Laravel doing his streams the other day, I was super impressed with just how he came across and how he does his streams. I have a tendency just to kind of blinders on, just go straight for it. It's quite nice to kind of sit back and just take your time with it and enjoy it at the same time. There's a model. Not likely to create many casts, but there we go. I'm not going to worry about all return typing and strict typing that right now. Console command, obviously going to want a console command to be sorted. Not very often that we're going to need anything in there. And there we go. That should be it. Now, I only ever use invocable controllers, which is perfect, because I can now do this. And done. What more do I need? Root namespace. Yeah, that'll do for now. Controller stuff, not that interested in. Events, I'm not going to be doing that many events. Factory, yes, I will definitely be having a factory. Namespace model, lots of stuff here. Delete that. There's an array. Usually I'd go through each and every single one, but right now it's just let's not worry about that. There's that. Let's remove that. Void. There we go. Nice, beautiful stubs. And obviously, most of them are definitely going to be queued. So. I can do some of this here. I'm going to do void. Yes. Give me 2 seconds. I'll show you a link for Mohammed. It's basically it's the Laravel channel basically. If you want to find it yourself while I'm doing this, I just really liked how he presents. It just came across really well, and it kind of inspired me to try and be a bit better with how I stream. So I'm trying. So there's them. That's all working. That's all how I need it. There we go. Cleans all that. Job mail. Do we want to worry about mail? Yeah, we'll just do it anyway. So there's some strict types in here, because what's life without strict types? Chaos. That's what it is. PSR 12. Away we go, and we can line this up ready for how we want to write our code. You know, it's just nice. There we go, nice and clean. Markdown mail. Most likely it's going to be using Markdown mail if I'm completely honest. This is the... There's a reason I avoided doing this if I'm honest. It feels so slow. But it's worth it in the long run. It means I'm not going to get frustrated as much. And notification, so there we go. Kibble. There we go, clean some of that up. We're going to return an array. This is mixed. Mixed here. Going to return a mail message. That's already up there, that's fine. Illuminate notifications, messages, yep, that's up there, cool. Right, this is an array. And this is mixed. There we go. Lots of stubs being created and ready for us. Middleware. There's definitely going to be a point where we're going to want middleware. Closure, and we're going to return mixed. I hate that we return mixed. Darn it. Ooh, what did I do there? Yeah, let's just not worry about that. Migrations, did that. Model pivot. I don't usually use pivot models, but no particular reason why. I just haven't gotten around to needing them. Here's a void. I'm definitely going to need notifications at some point for like shipping notifications. Yeah, it's much cleaner, isn't it? So we can say mixed array. This is a mail message. I mean, if this is a project I'm going to look after for a while, it's definitely something worth investing the time in. If it's just a pet project, don't worry yourself about going through all the stubs. But this is something I'm going to be working on for quite a few episodes, so I'd like to make sure I don't get frustrated constantly in the future. My observer, I do use observers relatively regularly. I don't like to use these ones if I'm honest. I sometimes use this one. Typically don't need that. This one I will add in here. Pull this in, illuminate auth access response. Sponsor ball. That could be model. That's going to cast it anyway. That's perfect. That's what we want. And then same with that one. That should all be good. I'll just copy that. That'll be quicker. Don't need that. Drop that one in there. There's so many events. So many events. I grabbed all of those. They're done. There's a policy done. A request. I do use these. I use these quite often. Resource again. Let's use that. Get my strict types on the go. So I want that. Turning array. All good. I'll keep that as that for now. Resource collection. I don't really use this one, if I'm honest. So I'm not gonna worry myself about that one. I very rarely create custom rules, so I'm not going to focus too much time on this one. I'm just going to do a quick tidy up. Don't really use rules that often. Seeders on the occasion when required. Clean that one up. Test, no, because I'm using pest, and test unit, no. That's it. So now we can say git add stubs commit creating custom stubs to avoid frustrations later. Cool. So yeah, wow, that was a lot, wasn't it? So what we're focusing on here is data model and events. There's no events to do just yet. So the customers got locations, we've got users themselves, which are the customers. So we do need that address. So we'll create it with no harm. So come down to database, and look, it's already preset up for us. So our address, what we're going to have on here is going to have a label. You know, what are they classifying this as? This could be home, office, head office, mum's house. I don't know. That's it, really. But then we're going to have foreign ID. We're going to have this for a user. So we're going to constrain on this one. The table for its users. We don't need to add it, but I'm going to add it anyway. Let's index it. So foreign ID constrained index. I mean, I'm pretty. You can usually select the foreign for, but I'm not sure on them yet. Database migrations, columns. Alright, so let's look for the foreign ones. Foreign ID for the user. It's kind of cool. Foreign ID. Foreign UUID. I'm just going to stick with this because it works for me. So we've got a user, and then we're going to have a location ID. It's going to be that simple. So we can come here to the address. We just want to refactor and move this to domain models. refactor that one. Here's our fillable. So what we're capturing on this one is super simple. All we need is a label, the user ID, and the location ID. Is there anything else we might want to capture on this? I don't think so. No, should be good. So we can go public function return this belongs to related is the user class. Foreign key is user ID. That's all we want for that one. Then public function location, again another belongs to, and it's going to be very similar to this. So I might as well copy paste that one in, change this one to, oh, not that one. Customer model is done. Location. That's what the label's for. I think. Yeah, no, actually, that's a very good point. There's only ever usually one billing address, but I will add that for now. We'll refactor it out if we don't need it. It's a good point, though. Good point. Oh, not shipping. That's the type of address, is it? There we go. So we got user and we got location. So a user can have many addresses. So return this as many. Related is going to be the address class. The foreign key that we need to worry about is going to be the user ID. So we kind of need the same thing on locations. So location can belong to many addresses basically. Create a name for a marketplace for a month. Yeah, the default address will probably end up being on the user eventually. So there is that. That's going to return a factory. Simplify that one. There we go. Yeah, you can delete that. There's a new factory. Right. There's the location done. There's the address part and there's the user part. Ooh, good spot. Thank you very much for noticing that one. So, like we got like the locations over here. We've got addresses. We've got users, and a user has many addresses, and that address can be of a specific type, billing, shipping, and that is tied to a location. So that can, they could choose which address they want to use for what basically. It might be better to have this as a boolean, as a billing, we go. That makes a lot more sense. Oh, splitting it into two parts on PHP Storm, super simple. Let me just come grab this. So all you do is you grab the tab at the top and you just drag it to the side. Over to that corner, over to the bottom, up to the top, and there you go. So that type there, we need to add that as a cast. Protected casts. That type is now billing. Ugh. So we just give it a, is this a billing address? Yeah, click. Nice little easy interaction part there. So let's just migrate that information. Whee. Ooh. Still complaining. I guess we don't need to constrain it. There we go. Let's go look at the structure. Address user ID index. Yeah, cool. So users addresses, users address relating to location. So what we can do now is we can look at doing something like default addresses. Do we want to add default address? That is the question. Or is that going to be maybe going a little bit too far for now? There might be better time spent doing something else. We can worry about that when we're implementing the UI a bit more, I think. So we've got a user, we got a location, and we got an address. This is that. I can't do like a diagram on this, can I? That would be really cool if you could. Nope. That'd be really cool if you could. So, address factory. So, this is where I need to do a deeper dive into defining model factories. Is where it comes to relations. So here's generating them. Here's a model for it. The factory states. I don't have any specific state that I'm going to want, I don't think. Let's go back to look at the address. So state-wise, I suppose I could have billing and not billing. So you have a public function. Ooh. Public function billing, which is going to return basically a factory again, isn't it? Oh, plugin in table, that would be really useful. If I'm honest, I'm used to using data grip. I'm still trying to adapt, so I might have to have a look into that one. Thank you very much, Chris. So what we want to do is return this state, which takes in a function argument, array attributes, return. And what we're going to have is billing as true. And we can pretty much just replicate this now and say shipping. I don't see those attributes aren't actually used, and it really bugs me. It really bugs me that I still got to pass them through. Not the end of the world though. So what we can do, factory callbacks, after making instantiating models, count applying states, overriding attributes, connecting factories and models. Ooh, you can do it that way. That's kind of cool. Persisting is fine. Sequences, not really interested in sequences. It's more about like relations. Here we go. Has post. Ah, okay, that's cool. So, perfect. So, here is how I can now do this. Okay, so, oh no, I still need that, don't I? So let's go to the address. So now I'm not using it to create real data right now. This is just like test for test data really. So the label is going to be array random. The array we're going to pass through is going to be things like home, office, head office, mum's house. Yeah, really simple thing like that. Then we'll have billing as this faker boolean, user ID, and we can say user factory create, and location ID array is location factory create. There we go. So let's test that now. The address factory. Let's see if that can work. Let's come back to our database seeder. We can say address factory create. So what are we getting issues with? Address factory not found. So much like we had before. So I don't know whether I like it that way or like it that way. I'll keep it to that for now. If we can be descriptive, then I will be descriptive. We are importing. Oh, okay, let's just. We'll remove the location factory. I'll just swap that for user factory. And address. There we go. Oh, okay, so states. So basically states here. So I've got this Boolean switch on my factory, and there's two different states that can be in. It can be on or it can be off, true or false. Um, if it is true, then it is a billing address. If it is off, then it's a shipping address. So I've got these two states. So I can say address factory, billing, create, and it will create a billing, a very specific fake model that is got billing enabled, or its billing is true. If I say shipping, then billing will be false. So it allows me to really quickly switch between, okay, I want a billing address or I want a shipping address, instead of having to pass through like an array into the create and say, okay, create, here's an array, billing is true. I've got methods so I can very quickly switch. It just, it adds no, it doesn't add much, but you know, it's nice, I guess. Right, so here's my address, user ID of 1. Here's my user, location of 1. So we got it. That is all connected nicely. Hour and 33 minutes. How are we doing? So my next commit. Address factory and factor to make sure factories are working in DDD mode. That is no problem at all, Bernard. As always, any questions, feel free to ask. The question there was, what do states do in a factory, basically. So there's not much else we can store on a user right now. So the things that a user can do is they can log in. We're going to deal with authentication later, but once they've logged in or created their account or whatever they might do to create that user model, we will then we'll start go through and have a cart, which is another domain. We will do things like create an order. A cart will turn into an order which belongs to that user. That order can be tracked, and notifications can be sent back to the user based on the status and things happening and changes going on in the application. User can apply a coupon that can be dealt with later once we get to coupons, but that's more attached to the cart and the order itself. I'm going to have a look into the orders to see how we can kind of capture that and capture changes. Oh, what am I listening to today? I am listening to Scartoon Network, which is kind of cool. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put on something a bit more relaxing for the last bit. If you can hear it, let me know if you enjoy it. So I think that is pretty much users or customers at this stage pretty good. We don't need much more information around them yet. We'll amend them a little bit later on. What I would say is the only thing I can think of doing here is maybe in the migration for the users table, we'd want to add like an address for let's put this down at 2011 quickly. There we go. So then on our users we can say table foreign ID, and we're going to do foreign ID of default billing address. We're going to constrain that one to the addresses table, but we're going to make this nullable. And again, we're going to have the same thing for shipping. So we can have a default billing or shipping address. Otherwise, if they aren't set, then we know we need to choose one, basically. So if they're null, then we've got to choose something. So that means we've got to come over to our user model. Let's just add these in. Billing ID over here. Here's my shipping ID. They are nullable, but what we will have is at this stage we can have public function. We can have default shipping address, which is a belongs to, because they return this belongs to, and the related one here is an address class. The foreign key is the local one is shipping ID. And we can pretty much duplicate that for default billing address. Or we could just say something like billing and shipping if we really wanted to. Why are they not different models? So, good question, Alex. I'm going to pop that up on the screen so people can understand what's going on. So, why are location and address models, and why not just one? So, imagine a scenario where my household, there's myself, my wife, and my five kids. That's 7 people. Let's say they were all old enough to use this site. They all had cards, and they all purchased from this same site. That's potentially 7 exact addresses stored in the database as separate records when there could be one. And what we can do is we could do like a first and create, basically. So they can enter their address. We can either grab the first one or create it. Very simple. It means that we're not duplicating addresses, and we're just keeping things a little bit tighter where they need to be. Addresses are things that have a chance to be duplicate. My wife might join up and buy something while I'm already on there. She doesn't know. She could just use my account, and they're, very simple little things, basically. I hope that helps, and please let me know if that answered your question there, Alex. Otherwise, I'll try and explain it a little bit further. So we've got a billing address and we've got a shipping address there. Or we can just go through and say we've got many addresses. So let's migrate fresh, make sure that doesn't die, and that works. Yeah, you can discover shared households that way too. So, so if I come to address, for example, we've got many users. We could just wrap out, So I could add extra queries into here or extra relationships, but I don't think it's going to be something that's called very often. But I could write a very specific query in here, something like a public function shared shared billing, and that would be relating to a user. So we could return this um, has many. It's a user class, and the foreign ID for this is the billing, so that's billing ID. So this is a belongs to. So what we're doing here is, oops, sorry, has many. So if you go to address shared billing, see from this address how many people are actually on this address as billing, or how many people are on this address as shipping address. But I'd rather just keep that out of it, and we just write a custom query when we need it, because it's not a relationship we need much or often. So there's shipping, there's billing, they can be null, that's all migrated. So we can now add all of that and say default billing and shipping addresses for the customer. But while I'm waiting, I'm going to come to GitHub quickly. Oh, am I going to be getting a pull request on PHP Online? That would be really useful, because I need to get back to looking at that. I'm just going to call this shop. There's no template. What I'm going to quickly do is on my other screen, drag up YouTube for this stream. Live now. Ooh. I don't want to hear myself talk, so let me just copy that. So, online shop build in Laravel. Create that repository. Okay. Really weird person joining the chat there. Sorry about that. Anybody who noticed? Yeah, instant ban. Right, so we can now come through and add all of this. Yeah, I've already banned them, I wouldn't worry. I saw one come up and I was like, okay, let me go click on ban. And before I could even ban them, they added another one. Right, so that is now up here. Yeah, I've got my monitor, like, it stops here where my hand is, and the other one is over there. So it's great having such wide monitors, but it does create its problems. So we can do Laravel, e-commerce, domain-driven design. Ooh. Okay, Laravel. Domain-driven design. Event sourcing. I'll keep it at that. So we don't have releases, packages, or environments. There we go. Any neck problems yet? No, but my neck's going to be about that wide soon, isn't it? Right, so here is the URL for the repo for anybody who might be interested. So here we go. Feel free to have a look and clone it, add to it, create some issues on it. What I'm going to quickly do is there's a way I can options. I'm pretty sure I can projects I don't need. Don't want to discussions. Set up discussions. Get rid of that optional stuff. No, I don't need to care about that. So here's discussions. Discussions are available. What am I typing on? I am typing on a Keychron K2. If you want to know the sort of things that I use, then head over to my website. Everything that I use on a regular basis, I add onto here. Some of these are affiliate links, I will warn you. But anything that is an affiliate link, you will get a notice. You'll get a warning that it is an affiliate link before you click on it. Same with Hello, Invoker, Tinkerwell. They are the only ones that are affiliate links. And Fathom, obviously. Anything else like Code Course, that ref that you're seeing, that's just something that I added so that any URL that I pass on there, I can pass to a unique reference, just for fun, just because I like to play with them. But have a look if you're interested in some of the things I use. There is on there. So I think for today we're probably going to call it. We've managed to model out what we expect to do with our users. The only thing I'd want to look at next is moving this as UUID. So what we need to do is, it's not really part of a domain, which is a thing that's really annoying me. But we can create a shared domain, and then when it's to do with any models, we can have concerns. And that means we can has UID, refactor, move class, domains, shared. Ooh. Wrong button. Move class, domain, shared models, concerns. Refactor that one quickly. Move that over there. That is now within shared. There's not much that's going to be living in shared, if I'm completely honest. But there will be the odd bit. So now I can move this. I can say commit moving has UUID traits to shared domain. So there we go. That is now moved and that is all up to date. So our next steps is to controllers inside an app. Okay, I will tell you what, I will quickly create one URI, one endpoint. So first thing to do is to do some quick cleanup within here. Let's clean up, there we go. So as roots, here's API. So prefix API, that's fine. Don't want a namespace. And then we can say as API v1. So there's the start of that. So we can come down to roots, create a new directory called API. Refactor that one. And what we'll quickly do, we will rename this to v1. Just clean some of that up. So when we come down to here, or here, not too bothered about precedence right now. So we've got our base root there, and then we've got our user root there. So what happens on that user root is we can add a name, auth me, something like that. So API v1 auth me. So who is the currently logged in user, basically. So what I want to do is, let's say I want to make, I'll scaffold out a couple of endpoints quickly. It's not going to really do much, so we will make a, let me make sure you can see this. We'll make a controller. This will be an API under v1. Then we will be on products, and we'll have like an index controller, which will be invocable. We will also have a show controller. So what we've then got is we can create a root group for product routes. And what's going to happen on these product routes, we're going to have a we're going to prefix products, append products onto there, and then we will quickly group these. And what we're going to have in here is show all products. So we've got a get request here, and what this is going to do is this is going to go to // and then we will have app http controllers API v1 products index class done. And then I will show you that in 2 seconds, Bernard. So what we've got is this route will now be API v1 products show. So then if we click through to this, here we go. For now, I'm just going to return an array because I haven't done anything yet. I'm going to ignore that. But if I come back to here, API v1 products show, here's how I get my products from the API endpoint. And so Bernard, invocable will make an invocable controller. So instead of having things like index, store, create, update, delete, destroy, all of those methods within one controller, I split them out into single classes so that I've got invocable classes that you can say, right, this class is a controller class, and all it's in charge of doing is the index route for products, which is going to be a listing action. Very simple sort of way to handle those sort those things out. Then obviously we would also within here, let's say we have the web routes as well. This is where I would go make a controller, and I would create a web for this one, and I would go pages, homepage, controller, which again, invocable. So then, okay, maybe I want admin, so I can make another controller under admin. Everything under admins to do with admins. So my next step is, okay, so what's my focus here? So this is for admins to users. The index route for managing users. The page route for the home page on the website. Then we've got our API routes, and they're all just split into this really nice, simple structure under namespaces. They're all part of an interface. They're all part of the application of how it interfaces with the business logic down in source. Benefits of using invocable classes is that I follow a pattern. This is kind of like my pattern. If it's an API route, I know I've got versioned, and I'm going to go into the resource there. So if I'm dealing with projects, I know I'm going to go into projects. If I'm from worrying about how I'm creating it, I know that this will be the store controller. If it's the updating that I'm trying to focus on is the update controller. It's just naming conventions and the fact that they're small, bite-sized controllers that do one thing but do one thing well. Have if I get to a point where I could do with like an extra method, or I've got my create and my update both need shared methods which I've extracted to um, a separate method on the class, then I'll create another class with that method and I'll extend it for the ones that I need. Um, it's all about extension, right? So that is how I do um, controllers, and that's I keep them all within the app itself because this is my Laravel app. The idea will be eventually um, this address and all of these things, write abstractions for this when I'm able to write abstractions for it, so that I can swap between Eloquent and Doctrine and PDO easily. That would be how it could be like true domain-driven design and add those layers of the onion. But for now, I keep it like this. Eventually, this will have events and event sourcing and all sorts of stuff going on. Yes, you can add invocable to a store controller. Um, so that would be like let's make a controller store controller invocable, and that will create an invocable store controller. It's just super simple like that. So let's add all of these. Just add all those quickly. Demo controllers, and away we go. So that's how we'd set up our API as well, which we will probably go into a little bit later. So for now, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go spend a little bit of time with my wife before I have to get up for another day and go to work. Thanks for tuning in. You check the description. There's a link to Discord. I'm always around on Discord. So if you've got any questions about what I'm building or any of the packages that I've built, feel free to ask away in Discord. It's also where some of my GitHub sponsors can directly contact me. And make sure you subscribe because there's a lot more of this stuff coming. Thank you very much, everyone, and good night.